I just want to talk here for a second, walking through a few things that have happened over the last 2 months. Welcome to Grounded and welcome to our hardening off area. This is where we harden off our plants before they go into the garden and after they come out of the garage. In case you're not sure what hardening off means, I didn't when I started gardening either, but what it means is you acclimate the plants to the environment in a sequence. I run my hardening off depending on the plants, but for the most part, I run them about 2 weeks. The first few days is completely in the shade, and the last few days is completely in the sun before I put them in the garden. Now, that is best case scenario. One of the things that has happened over the last few weeks to put our garden on hold a little bit is the rain and the clouds and the cold. Usually we do have a lot of inclement weather during the time where we're supposed to be hardening off our plants. That is the way it is. That's the way the world goes around. This last couple weeks, we had 4 to 5 days of just pure rain, and the plants from the nursery or the plants from the grow room can't handle that amount of cold when it comes, because it'll stunt their growth. So we had to bring them back into the garage and then extend that hardening off time by probably 4 or 5 days. So last night was one of the coldest nights that's coming, that's in the forecast. So we're gonna plant the rest of the plants out in the garden today. We expanded the garden 50 feet by 30 feet wide. And I can't believe it. It's really wet because of all the rain we had, and there's a lot of work to do, but I am so happy. Thank you so much, Rodney and Debbie, for what you've done for us. I'll be sharing a lot more about this in a future video. We are so excited. We have an extra 50 feet in the garden, and I have a plan all drawn up for it, of course. Uh, I think I have had this plan in my mind of what I've wanted in this garden ever since the day we moved the fence. It's been a while coming. It's been a lot of steps to make it happen, and I can't believe it. We're going to have a big production garden happening here, and we're going to be able to feed so much food from the garden to our family and our friends, and just we don't really do it for the yields. We do it for the love of gardening and the love of being outside. So stay tuned for more updates about our expansion and what my plans are for that. And let's get to planting this garden. Another thing that I can't get out of my mind is, well, there's two things that I want to talk about that prolonged a video. Mr. Murphy passed away. Mr. Murphy got hit by a car on the road and passed away from the injuries sustained from his accident. So that hit us really hard. That hit us really hard. That was my first dog, and it was the girl's first dog, and he was just a great puppy, and he was such a good dog. And we made a little bed for him out back that I can show you later if you want. So that was a big hit for us, for sure. This lettuce came up from last year's seeds. We never planted any of these seeds. This is butter crunch lettuce. It's beautiful. There's some chamomile growing over here. We didn't plant that either. And our Egyptian walking onions are right here. There's nothing in this bed yet, but that's where we're going to put our peppers. And I'm going to work on the tomatoes next. The tomatoes are going in that bed over there. We have a bunch of kale in here. This is red Russian kale that grew from last year's seeds. We never planted any of this kale. So the tomatoes are going right here on this trellis. Very similar to over here, where I've already planted the San Marzano tomatoes over here. This is where we planted the San Marzanos last year, and they did awesome. So we just have to adjust this this trellis a bit. It's kind of wobbly. I don't know if you can see that or not, but the winter did that to it, I guess. I did a video a while back on what I am planting and how many varieties are there. So I'm going to post that video right here. When I plant these tomatoes, I'm going to plant them much deeper than what this pot is showing right here. I'm going to remove as many of these leaves off here as makes sense to me. And then I'm going to plant this plant in the ground till the top of the ground is about here. This is a Kellogg's breakfast. We only happen to have one of these that survived. We have 32 tomatoes to go into the ground, hopefully today, if I can keep up a good pace. It's really good to compost your, like dig a hole, put compost in there, put your plant in. I grabbed a bunch of our soil from the garage that we were using for potting, and I mixed that with our compost, and this is what I'm going to be putting in the bottom of the hole. I harvested some kale that was in the tomato bed that I'm going to plant the tomatoes in. Still haven't decided what I'm doing with the kale plants in the tomato bed, and I don't have to decide today. I'm just going to make the holes in the ground with the auger, and then I'm going to plant the tomatoes, and then we're going to be done. So it's going to be great. We had this come up in the garden too. This is coriander. An ingredient that you would find in salsas. So this is awesome that this has come up. This will be ready way before the tomatoes are ready. So my plan this year is to harvest as much of the cilantro and freeze it so that I have it for when I can the salsa. I was just pruning these and I realized I did something that I didn't mention before. Where to plant this? I had mentioned about putting it deep into the ground as far as you can, but I didn't really elaborate on what exactly that means until I did it right now. So if you're planting your tomato and you're removing some of the leaves, you want to make sure that there's no leaves touching the ground. So if no leaves are touching the ground, then you're good. It's coming into golden hour here, and I just wanted to show you what I got planted today. Was able to do this whole row. This has 10 tomato plants in it and 5 marigolds. Got some fox cherry, got some scotias, got some Brad's atomic grapes. Got some Amish paste. I left the kale in the bed here. I harvested it, but I left it in the bed. I get to say that I'm pretty happy with that success tonight. We also put in some alyssum in the front flower bed, and we moved some pots around, and I think that was pretty much it. We watered, and that's it. Okay, so stay tuned for updates on this. So excited, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.